It is important in a military town to have a strong support structure, and that's what the Armed Services YMCA in Lawton provides. They've been helping servicemen and women for 70 years.
This morning they kicked off their annual partner member campaign with a breakfast. Their goal is to raise over $82,000. To show what the Armed Services Y does to help, they invited a woman to share her story.
7 News reporter Scott Miller is here with what the Armed Services YMCA has done for her family. Scott?
Jody Patterson had lived her entire life in California. Her family and her job of 15 years were there, but she was about to be an Army wife living in Oklahoma. Doesn't sound that unusual until you find out that Brian, her husband, was 39 when he decided to join the Army. So he joined the Army. She wasn't happy. But wait, there's more. This story has tears, screaming, a coma, and a happy ending.
After I signed, I said, hey, I'm in the Army now.
Well, I don't think I could put that on camera because I was furious. I came unglued and just got in the car and drove. I drove out to Palm Springs, which was about an hour away, and just screamed and hollered and bawled my eyes out the entire time.
When you decide to make a life-changing decision like joining the Army, that's not exactly the kind of response you're looking for. Understand that before joining, Brian was unemployed.
As the breadwinner of the family, the kids look up to you for food. They look up for you to get fixed if they have medical needs. And I'm not going to get a job that doesn't offer much benefits.
After basic training, they moved to Oklahoma.
We got here March 17th and he deployed June 3rd.
So about 75 days after arriving in Oklahoma, it's just Jody and her kids.
I cried a lot the first couple months we were here.
She didn't know anybody, no support system. And that's where the Armed Services YMCA comes in.
We got here, we needed a microwave, and we went in there, and that's how we met them. And we walked out with a microwave at no cost because it was available that day at the Soldier's Closet.
But that's just the beginning.
They were on the phone, what do you need? They were emotionally, you know, when you'd go in there, they would, you could just cry on their shoulder. You could share your story. They cared. They remembered your name. You weren't just a person walking in that was a nobody. They actually cared enough to know who you were.
That's not the end of the story. After returning from Afghanistan, the family of four reunited and took off to visit family in California. But they didn't get far. A terrible car accident just a few hours down the road. Brian suffered a traumatic brain injury. 6 weeks in a coma.
When we were in the accident, we immediately had an outpour of his command team, and the Y, they immediately contacted us.
And what does Jody, remember, she was screaming, crying, not happy. What does she think about the Army now?
We want to stay. We want to keep and do it, and he wants to retire out with it. And we say we're not going to let it go, and they'll have to push us out. We're ready to stay.
We're ready to stay? What a difference a couple of years can make. Jody loves the Army now. Oh, and she loves the Armed Services YMCA. If you're a member of the Armed Services, they would love to help you too. And by the way, Brian hasn't fully recovered from the traumatic brain injury, but the Army has been there to support him all the way.